Alright, so a lot of people are very confused with respect to which CA final elective to opt for. So the first part I want to discuss is what are the different elective papers, what is the basic content of the elective papers, because that's the most important thing to look at before deciding. And there are a few misconceptions about the elective papers, so I'll just talk about that. So, which elective to basically opt for. So we've got about 6 electives given to us. The first one is your risk management. Second one is your financial services and capital market. The third one is your international taxation. I'm just trying to keep the order correct. The fourth one is your global financial reporting. I missed that one out over here. First is your economic laws, then you have your global, multidisciplinary case studies. So the first misconception that you have is that if I want a job in finance, I have to take one of these. If I want a job in law, I have to take one of these. Honestly, the choice of elective paper is not going to be so important. एक elective paper, final level का 100 mark paper के basis पर, you're not going to be able to get a job on that one basis. That okay, if I do one of these papers, I'll become a risk manager or an investment banker. So please don't have that misconception with you. It is not going to work that way. Because the first priority is to clear the CA final exams. That is the first priority. And after clearing the CA final exams, to sit at the interview table, clear your GD and group discussion and whatever rounds are there. And at the interview table, you need to be very smart. You need to be able to answer questions, whatever is asked, and that includes economy, reading books, having general knowledge, having good subject knowledge. Of course, it will depend for the profile you're applying. If a company has a lot of demand for tax professionals, irrespective of whether you had international taxation as your elective, if you're a qualified chartered accountant who can smartly answer the questions in the interview, you will be hired for that post. So the first misconception is that based on the kind of paper I have chosen for elective, I will get a profile in my job. It does not work that way. So get that out of your system. I can make it relatively easier. I want to discuss the syllabus of all the subjects, but I'll just make it a little easy for you to make a choice over here. Multidisciplinary is something that I would not recommend because it is going to be a mix of all the subjects. So it might turn out to be very vague, or if not vague, very difficult, or if not difficult, it will be encompassing everything. So until unless you are an absolutely pro at all of the subjects, I would personally not recommend multidisciplinary case studies as a subject, because we don't even know what exactly we are going to be tested on. Or it is going to be very comprehensive. It will be very analytical. It will be very interesting. But from the exam point of view, I would personally not go for it. It could be very interesting. It could be testing you, grueling you on your analytical skills very well. But still, I'll personally probably not choose this particular subject. Then, the choice between these two subjects is extremely easy. If you are someone who has a lot of experience during articleship in the taxation domain, again, I will discuss the syllabus in detail, so you'll understand what's there in each of the subjects to make a better informed decision. But if you have an articleship experience focused on the international taxation domain, or if you want to pursue a career, absolutely you are sure that I want to get into the taxation role, then in that case you go for this particular subject. In case you are very sure that I want to be a legal advisor, I want to get into compliances, legal, and I am probably parallelly doing an LLB or parallelly doing a CS and just not doing CS, but I want to implement, I want to work in that field, I want to get into the legal and the compliances department and the law issue and all, then I will make a choice for this subject. Otherwise, these 3 subjects are out. So you can very easily, by the process of elimination, choose between 6 subjects. At least the 3 subjects you can rule it out, or maybe make a choice and immediately skip the rest of it. So that is one. I'll discuss the syllabus of all the 6 subjects. Then the tough choice is between A, B and E. That is your risk management, financial services and capital market, and global financial reporting. For those students who do not want to give a lot of time to the preparation of the elective subject, for those who have a knack for, IFRS, US GAAP, maybe you've done a lot of reporting work for maybe consolidating entities and all of that during your articleship, maybe Big Fours, maybe the other ones where, you've dealt with subsidiary holding companies a lot, and you actually like the reporting part and you like your accountancy standards, reporting and all of that. In that case, again, a good idea would be to go for global financial reporting. When you're looking at global financial reporting, there is going to be content with respect to IFRS, Ind AS, US GAAP and the differences between these. Now when you're looking at IFRS and Ind AS, 90-95% is going to be similar because Ind AS is trying to converge with IFRS. The Indian accounting standards issued by the ICI is trying to converge with IFRS, and that is why we have Ind AS. So it is going to be very similar to IFRS. You just need to take note of the differences. And when you're looking at the US GAAP, again, see, you cannot change accounting principles. I can say I'll follow SLM, you will say I will follow WDV method. But ultimately it is accounting, right? So understanding the differences, but then you have to be strong with consolidation and all these kind of topics. Then you can go for global financial reporting. Then the next choice comes in between A and B. Now A and B, for those who want to make a career in finance, those who like SFM and finance a lot, then you can think about one of the papers out of A and B. Now when you're looking at risk management paper, about 2 chapters out of 9 chapters are going to be in favor of in common with SFM paper. You have a risk management reading in SFM, there is a risk management full subject over here, so that subject becomes very easy for you. That chapter in SFM or vice versa, either ways, that is the overlap part. And the second is there is a little bit of statistics over here. I'll discuss the syllabus in detail for all the subjects. That is going to make your choice, that is going to make your portfolio easy, because anyways the amount of statistics that you have over here, you anyways have to do that for portfolio chapter in SFM. So you might as well clear your concepts really very well over here. When you're looking at financial services and capital market, mutual fund is going to be a very common topic between the 2 subjects, SFM and this one, and there are sums on mutual funds as well. But contrary to what you think probably, financial services and capital market subject also is purely theoretical. The text is theoretical, but the questions, I'll come to the paper format also, that is going to be case study based. So you have to be extremely thorough with your concepts, you have to be very confident with your content, because financial services and capital market seems to be having will be having more difficult paper. Now this is based on my analysis, what I've gone through with the May 2018 papers and what I've, going through the books and all. So based on that, it is my opinion. You may differ, but that is what I have analyzed and I have understood and reviewed with so many students, and also that is what I get. So the paper is going to be relatively difficult in financial services and capital market because you already know a lot from SFM. And there are 16 readings over here as against only 9 readings over here, out of which 2 or 3 are very, very small. Over here also it's technically 15, but still there are 16 readings, 1 reading is quite small over here. So if you're looking at finance, you go for this, one of these 2. If you're looking for taxation, you go here. If you're looking at law, then you go here. If you're looking at global reporting, financial reporting and all, you go over here. And otherwise, I think multidisciplinary is something that you are better off skipping for a couple of years at least right now. So this is the basic outline of the paper. Now the question, whatever choice of subject you've made when you enroll for final is not the final choice. You have to make a choice every time you give the exam. Say for example, you gave the exam in the month of November or May and you did not clear it. You are free to select another elective for your next attempt. So every time you're giving the exam, you can make a choice for the elective that you want to. When you're looking at the elective paper, it is an open book exam. Open book exam all the more means that you need to be conceptually very, very thorough with whatever paper you're selecting. Because the questions, you will not be able to copy paste directly what is given in the book and write it in the exam. You have to logically analyze it. So also one very important factor before choosing the subject is what are you good at, where your fundamentals are very strong. It does not depend on how much marks did you score, how many marks did you score in the inter level. It depends on which subject you think you're going to be good at. And which you find it easy, which you find it more interesting. Because there's another 6 subjects that you'll have to do. Ideally, the paper is going to be having 2 out of 3 case studies that you need to do. Each of the case studies is going to be 50 marks each. So you have a 50 mark, 50 mark, 50 mark, 3 questions, out of which you'll be cracking 2. In details, I've gone through these two papers, the exam papers as well as the mock papers that is there on the institute's website. RTP was not provided for May 2018 term. Now 50 marks case study would generally be having 20 marks of MCQ and 30 marks would be your analytical case study. Like a couple of questions are there, there is a balance sheet and proper financial data is given, and on the basis of that there are a few questions being asked with respect to how the data is going to turn out to be, with respect to what do you call it, that how would the risk manager do, give a risk analysis report, or how do you figure out, how can you figure out this risk, or how can you make amends over here, what kind of a mutual fund is this, the data is provided for this. So the questions are going to be relatively difficult over here, as I told you. Over here it seems to be relatively easier because you don't have so much of subject expertise with respect to risk management. So anyways, most of the content is theoretical, and since there are less number of chapters and less number of people, I believe, will be opting for risk management compared to this one. In my opinion, this would be the least to take an exam. That is again my opinion. I have no figures with respect to this, but I personally believe this would be the lower one, then this second lowest, then I think it would be this and this. There would be somewhere between these two, and the top two would be these two. Sorry, top two would be financial services, capital market, and global financial reporting. Now, I don't know if more people will take, therefore your passing rate is higher or lower. So I personally would recommend don't bother about who's taking how many papers, which paper more people are taking, where the pass rate could be higher. Ultimately, your fundamentals, your concepts are strong in a particular subject, you go for that. That should be the bottom line of taking a decision, right? So open book case study, I've told you. Analytics is going to be required. Fundamentally strong, I've told you. Don't think about the number of people, I've told you. Skills and desired specialization. So yes, if you want to specialize in any of the fields, you accordingly take up a subject that will of course just give you a little edge. It is not going to impact whether you are going to get a job or not going to get a job. It will be 1% of your entire process. Your CA final marks, your profile, your extracurriculars, your interview, your group discussion, everything taken together. Elective might play a 1% role in determining your profile. So don't worry about that, you know, I have to take an elective because this is the job I want. So don't worry about that part. Now going through the syllabus in a little detail, I'll start with one at a time. I'll start with the first one. When you're looking at risk management, it is not so much of mathematics. There are only two readings, one with a little bit of quants. In the quants part, you have mean, standard deviation, variance, you have probability, you have Bayes theorem. Now don't worry about the Bayes theorem because even I don't know the formula of Bayes theorem. I will do the Bayes theorem part over here. I will start off with risk management. The Bayes theorem portion is not going to be a problem because even I don't have to teach you through a formula. You can solve the Bayes theorem questions without doing the formula, without knowing the formula at all. It's very, very easy. I'll do it right away. Credit risk models. Now the chapter's name would be credit risk models and all. You're not supposed to be building models and all. It is very easy, simplified, theoretical understanding that you have to have. But just reading the theory will not help, or mugging up will definitely not help. What is needed is you understand the context. You don't have to solve sums, you understand the concepts. That's all that is going to be needed. Operational risk, corporate governance, enterprise risk management. Say for example, enterprise risk management would mean that you need to do the risk management for the enterprise as a whole, for the entire organization as a whole, instead of having multiple risk departments. Say suppose bank has got a credit card department, a foreign exchange department, a treasury department, a corporate sales, retail sales. So there are multiple departments. Now instead of every single department trying to do their own analysis and risk management, we should have a unified structure. For those who have completed portfolio in SFM, you'll understand that when you combine multiple assets together, there is diversification benefit. So that could be your enterprise risk management would rather have a unified kind of a risk management for the entire organization as a whole. So there are about 9 readings. Couple of them are quite small, on an average 20-30 pages, between 20 to 25 pages. So if you like risk management, I know risk management is not being covered in any of the readings as such except for one chapter in SFM, so it's difficult to assess whether you like it or not, but it is quite easy. There is an overlap with 2 readings, the quants part with the portfolio of SFM, and the risk management reading will be overlapping, of course, will be totally covered SFM, and this part is going to be totally common, 100% common. Then we'll move to the second subject, financial services and capital market. There are about 16 readings over here. It is about money market, capital market, fundraising, banking management, NBFC, non-banking finance companies, treasury management, risk derivatives. Credit risk is going to be common in these two, both of these. This one also has credit risk. This one also has a part of credit risk, a little bit of it. So when you're looking at the financial services capital market, mutual fund is going to be an overlap when you're looking at the two subjects. Other than that, not too much of overlap is there between SFM and financial services capital market, but you have done a little bit of theory in inter as well. So you would be more familiar with the terms because you already know them. But then again, as far as I understand, the paper is more difficult for financial services capital market. More number of people are giving financial services capital market, and the syllabus is relatively 20-30% more extensive. There are 16 readings as compared to only 9 in risk management. But still, if you are confident with your SFM and you want to go ahead with it, it is a great paper. You can definitely take it up. There is no downside. It's good. The paper, the content is fine, but it is not numerical as such. Mutual funds is the only numerical portion that you will find in this paper. The third one will go to international taxation. When you're looking at international taxation, again, that's not my area, so I've not gone into the details of the question papers and all, but I've just gone through the topics. I've just brushed through the material. I've just reviewed the material very quickly. So there will be an overlap with the black money part, tax treaties, anti-avoidance laws, e-commerce, NRI investors, non-resident Indians. So how would their taxation be done? That is going to be covered over here. There is a clear-cut 30 marks overlap with the taxation paper that you already have, paper 7. And also, if you are, as I mentioned earlier, if your articleship exposure is in taxation, don't assume that you will know entire this thing. It's not like that. But if you have an inclination towards taxation that yes, I want to do tax, or in the articleship period you've done a lot of international taxation related work, which is less probable to be very honest, then you can look at the taxation paper. The next one is your economic law paper. Now there will be quite a few things common with respect to your law paper and the allied law section in particular and the economic law section. You have readings on World Trade Organization, Competition Act, Real Estate Insolvency Code, FEMA is there, Foreign Exchange Management Act, and Money Laundering Act is there, Benami Property Act is there. So all these acts have been covered in economic law. Now, one, there is going to be an overlap with respect to your allied laws. Your Competition Act is common, FEMA is common, money laundering is common, but then the content, the case studies that will be given will be much more delving into the depth of these topics, and it will be much more difficult than what you would expect probably in the law paper. One advice I can give you, if you're doing CS along with it, or you are doing LLB, or you want to be a legal advisor, then you can think about this paper. Then you should think about this paper. And secondly, there is also one more thing to note. If you plan to be, if your family business is into real estate and you want to venture into your family business eventually after doing your CA final, then maybe having the 2016 Real Estate Act done and the Benami Property Act and all might be useful for your business as such. So if that is also the case, you can think about the economic law paper. Global financial reporting relatively seems to be easy. You don't have to put in so much of hard work because you already know most of the content. If you want, again, IFRS, US GAAP, the differences between the two, differences between IFRS and Ind AS, but then your accounts, consolidation, reporting, all these things needs to be strong. Overlap is going to be quite significant. So then in that case, you can go for the paper Global Financial Reporting. Then in that case, you can look at the paper Global Financial Reporting. But then again, as I told you, these two are going to be the most common papers I presume that people are taking. Then comes your international taxation, then risk management, then economic law, and then multidisciplinary case studies. That is again my opinion. Then when you're looking at the case studies, when you're looking at the exam papers that are being posted, mock papers and the exam papers of May 18, the case studies are quite analytical. When you're looking at open book exams, the institute will have certain books provided to you when you're giving the exams. You will not find the answers directly from the book exactly over there. You'll have to analyze it, just that you can refer for the terms and all. So just choose a paper based on which you are fundamentally going to be very strong. So that is my opinion on your elective paper. Hope that solves your problem.